Hello, welcome everybody. Before we begin, I'm just going to wait a few more minutes and see if we have others joining us. So know that we're live and we're ready to go. I'm just going to give it a few more minutes, okay? All right, well, welcome everybody. So we are finally here at 3 Secrets to Confidently Increase Your Prices. And so for those of you who are joining me for the first time today, I want to thank you for being here. And for those of you that are trying for the second time, I really appreciate your persistence. And it has taken me the entire day. I didn't figure out the problem until 5 o'clock today, what was actually going on this morning. So for those of you that are new and didn't join us this morning, it didn't work. I wasn't able to get the webinar jam to work correctly. And I really apologize. I am so disappointed because we had such a great turnout, and I am completely humbled right now because the problem was that I put my administrative email in the wrong box. I put it in my name and not where I was supposed to put my email. So I completely set up the webinar incorrectly, and that is why we weren't able to gather. And so I so apologize, and I am definitely eating humble pie right now as I learn and grow from every issue that we encounter in our business. And so for those of you who know me, and those of you who get to know me at some point, know that I always try to show up very authentically and very real. And so this has been quite the journey for me today. So I appreciate your patience and your persistence, and for showing up again. So thank you. And let's go ahead and get started here. So we are going to be talking about 3 secrets to confidently increase your prices. And I just want to make sure that you all know that there is a chat box on the right-hand side. So if you have any questions that come up for you as we go through this, please feel free to drop them in there, and I will answer them as we go. So let's go ahead and begin. So who this webinar is really for? It's for those of you who may be giving all your services away for free. And I just want to make sure that that I am going to just do a chat here. I just want to make sure that you guys can hear me. If you guys can hear me okay and everything's all right, would you answer, or let's see. So I'm just putting out a little chat there. I want to make sure before I get into the meat of this that everybody is okay and that you're able to hear me all right. All right, if you can hear me, go ahead and answer me in the chat public box there so I know that I'm ready, that everything's okay and you can hear me all right. Okay, great. Thank you, Catherine, for answering me. I really appreciate that. All right, don't want to be talking into the air because I know there are definitely viewers on the line. So, all right. So this is for those of you who may be giving your services away for free. You may be. Let's see here. You may be feeling resentful with your current pricing. I know I experienced this in my building of my practice, and it's definitely not a good feeling to be in. And it's also for those that would like to increase your prices, but you don't know how to do that. There is a technique that I have learned that has really helped me to be able to increase my prices. And I'm so excited to share that with you today. So here's what we're going to cover in our time together is we're going to be talking about 3 telling signs that you need to increase your prices now. We're also going to be talking about how to stop giving away your services for free. Nobody actually wins when we do that. Also, the crucial mistakes to avoid when increasing your prices. How to have your clients love your new rates. I know that sounds a little misleading, or not misleading, but a little edgy, but it can actually work. And also the missing ingredient beyond a mindset shift to raise your prices. And also how to establish your divine price point and confidently ask for it. And there is so much more that I want to cover, that I would love to cover, but it would take us days to be able to do that. So I'm going to give you, I've put together all the good stuff that you can put into practice today. And I promise to share with you a way that you can get more from me if you're interested. So let me tell you a little bit more about myself so you can have a better understanding of who I am. So my name is Lynn Schulte. I would love to tell you a little bit about my journey. So today, I'm actually loving my life right now. I live in a beautiful, big, light-filled home in the neighborhood where all my friends live, and we've got a pool in the neighborhood to enjoy these hot summer days. And I get to open my window every morning and look out at the Rocky Mountains and see what the weather has in store for us. And I work from home, so I'm here for my 2 boys. They're 12 and 14 right now. And I get to be here when they head off to school and when they come home. And I absolutely love working from home. And I get to share my gifts and my passion and work with the most amazing women. I wake up every morning so grateful for my life. And yet it wasn't always this way. I was actually, 6 years ago, I was living what I felt at the time was my dream life in Seattle with my family, with my husband and my 2 boys at the time. And I am a women's health physical therapist. And I had my own successful PT practice working out of my home in Seattle, and I absolutely loved it. I loved being in Seattle. But my husband wasn't happy, so we moved to Boulder, Colorado in 2008 after getting some divine guidance and signs that this is where we needed to be. We packed up everything and moved out here to Boulder in 2008. So I had to start all over again. And this time when I moved to Colorado, I decided I am not going to work with insurances anymore. I just couldn't fit myself into their box. And so I knew that that was going to make it a little bit more challenging for me to get a practice going, but I was committed to not dealing with insurances. So, of course, I had made all the mistakes you do in trying to start your business, and I have increased my prices many times within those 2 businesses that I have owned. And I'll talk more about all that in a minute, but when I moved out here to Seattle, or to Boulder, I found a specialty niche working with pregnant and postpartum women. And I have quickly become known as the postpartum recovery expert here. And I love helping women to heal and reconnect back into their body, especially after a traumatic birth. And I really, the focus of my work being a women's health physical therapist really is in the pelvis. And so as I was healing all these new moms, what I kept hearing over and over again was how I was changing their life. And all I was doing was connect. The intention was not to change their life. The intention was to just connect them and heal their pelvic space. And so I found that this work and working with the energy of the pelvic space really changed my life as well. And as I connected in and started working with this area, I realized and I found my truth. And my truth was that my marriage wasn't working for me anymore. I had compromised and devalued myself to try to make someone else happy, and I just couldn't do it anymore. In claiming back my power that was within me by connecting into my pelvic space, I decided after a lot of struggle, resistance, and lots of tears that I was going to end my marriage. And it turned out to be the best thing that has happened for all of us. My boys may not agree, but I do see how this has helped them as well. And so here's a picture of my 2 boys and my little dog, Ashton. And so please don't get me wrong here. I'm not here saying that if you connect into your pelvic space, you're going to end your marriage. That's not always the case. But what I do know is that what happens when you harness the power that is within you, and specifically, I feel your pelvic space, you find your truth. You find your value, and you find the confidence to live the life the way you really want to. And so I am now living the life I want to, and I can actually say that I am truly living my divine purpose. I started attracting to me women entrepreneurs, and in connecting them to this area, I found that it was helping them change their business. They were becoming more successful. They were working with greater ease and joy, and they were attracting to them more clients and more money and more. You know, they had the confidence to really charge more for their work. And I so want that for all of you. So let's jump into this training I have put together here for you today, because I really want you to see just how powerful this work can be. So first off, though, let's talk about 3 indicators you need to increase your prices. So the first one is that if you feel resentful about your prices, if people go to pay you and it does not juice you up and make you feel good about yourself and your work, then you need to increase your prices. Also, if you are too busy seeing too many clients, that is a beautiful time for you to increase your prices. And then the other way is that if you are too comfortable. Now, I know that may sound a little weird, and yet as business women owning our own business, our business really is all about us. And I am constantly learning and growing and stretching myself so that I can offer more and more to my clients. And one of the ways is if we get too comfortable, we get complacent about our work. And so stretching ourselves and making ourselves grow really benefits the client as well. So the other thing that you can think about too is there's some models. The way I built my PT practice was I offered a free class called How to Lose the Pooch for Good to pregnant and postpartum women. And during the class, as a special bonus for them coming, I offered them a discounted session that they paid up front that night, and then they could use it at any time. And that is how I developed my practice. But what happened to me is that I was developing, I was actually, what I was initially charging, when I discounted it, it didn't feel good to me. And so that was an opportunity for me to raise my prices so that when I did discount, I still felt good about it. And so now for other people in other industries, that may not be a good thing for you to do. You may not want to discount your services at all. So throw this away if this doesn't resonate with you. But if you are someone that does have somewhat of a sliding scale, when you increase your prices, when you offer that discount, you don't feel so bad or resentful about that discount. So something to think about. And then here are the results that happen when you do increase your prices. The clients invest more in themselves. Really, when we are paying for a service, we are saying, I am worth this service. I am worth paying this money to get this benefit, this result. When you increase your prices, it really is true. It's happened for me every single time. Your work becomes more potent. It's more powerful. It's like there's more that comes through you as you do your work. And then the other thing is the client then gets more out of your work. And so this is how you help your clients love your new rates. They get so much more out of it. And when you increase your prices, it's like people take you more seriously in a significant way. There's a focus of power between you and the client, and you make way more money. So you feel really good about your work. And this is really what it's all about, to be well rewarded for your work. We're so used to giving everything away for free that when you really value yourself, your clients do the same. And so one of the things that I did, I was saying I made all the mistakes in growing a business, is that I thought, well, I'm just going to decrease my prices here. Let me just see here. I want to see what the next, oh, well, here, I'm going to talk about it here. The mistakes made when pricing your work. So the first thing is you decrease your prices to get more clients. And I did this in starting off years ago. I thought, well, I'm not making any money, so I might as well decrease my prices so I'll get more clients in. And that's really not what happens. What happens is that you attract to you people who don't want to pay that much for your work, and then you feel resentful when you are accepting their payment. And then you just attract to you people that don't really want to pay much for services. When you increase your prices, you really attract to you people who value themselves and value your work. So it really is a perfect blend of helping yourself to step into your value and what you have to offer, and helping the client do the same. So when you show up and your clients show up more, you both play more fully and you're more fully invested. And that's really what benefits all. So another mistake made in pricing your work is really having lack of confidence in your work. And then the other piece is not clear on the value you offer. So it's really important for you to see just how you do your work. What is the value that you bring to your work and to your clients, customers, or whatever, whomever you're working with? And when you own that and you can claim it, it makes increasing your prices so much easier. So and then the other piece is raising your prices without embodying your new price point. Oh, I've done this one many times. So what happens is that you think, well, I want to be charging X amount of dollars. Let's say $100. You're now charging $50, or or $75, and you want to increase it to $100. And many people do this, and I've even done it in the past. You're like, okay, now I'm going to charge $100. Well, you don't fully believe it or fully own it, and can't really hold it energetically within you. You throw it out there, and then over time you kind of become more comfortable with it. And so what I'm going to share with you today is that there's a way for us to really embody our new price point and put it out in such a way that has us owning it from the beginning, instead of trying to put it out there and then gradually over time own it. So our first secret is that a solid foundation makes it easier to increase your prices. And so why is that? Well, I feel that you have to be able to energetically hold your increased price point in your foundation. And your foundation for your business, I really feel, lies within your pelvic space. And believe me, I've seen this over and over again, that when women connect into the power that is within this place, it really is magical. And so energetically, your pelvis is the foundation for your business. And so much happens here energetically in your pelvic bowl. It's a mixing bowl of both your masculine and feminine energies. And our creative center really lies within this pelvic space. So the pelvic bowl really represents how much we can hold. And so I invite you, we're going to check in to see how big is your pelvic bowl. And so I invite you to just close your eyes And just imagine or go down into your pelvic space and just see, if you imagine this pelvic area as a bowl, how big is your bowl? And it can be larger than the actual bony structure of your pelvis. Or it can be smaller too. So we're kind of tapping into the energetic bowl that is our pelvic region. And again, it can be smaller or it can be more expansive. And this really represents how much you are able to hold in your business. So if you are someone that is wanting to double your business income, then you need to double the foundation energetically within you. And so in my Claim Your Value program, I teach you how to work with this energy in the pelvic bowl. And we really work more specifically with the dynamics in this pelvic bowl. I noticed someone wrote in the Facebook page that from my video, I asked you guys to check in to see what your pelvic bowl felt like. And someone wrote that they were able to feel their right side ischium a little bit more than their left side, like their left side wasn't able to come down all the way. And I'll talk about that in a little bit, but that's what I'm talking about, that foundation in the bowl, and how are things really showing up energetically within you. So like I said earlier, the pelvis is a mixing bowl of our energies. So we have the left side of our body represents the feminine energy, and the right side of our body represents our masculine energies. And so this pelvis is a beautiful way of mixing both of masculine and feminine energies. And yet, so many people are separated. They don't know how to use these energies in this dynamic way where they both support each other. So many women are showing up in the business world in a very masculine way, and they're not allowing that feminine energy to support them in their business because they feel like they have to show up as a man in business. And what I'm here to share with you is that that feminine energy is so powerful, and that when we access that power, we can show up in a whole new way. And I'm really about working with balancing the energies within you, both the masculine and feminine energies, and working with those together. So the problem, though, let's talk a little bit about the masculine energies. So the masculine energy is very action-oriented. It's all about doing. It's about putting your work out there in the world. And then masculine energy is similar to an arrow. That's the way I look at it. It's very focused, very direct, trying to hit that bullseye. That's the masculine. And then the left side of our body is all feminine. And the feminine is our ability to just be and not have to do so much. It's about nurturing ourselves and others. Ourselves most specifically. We're so good at nurturing others, but yet we have a really hard time in allowing ourselves to nurture ourselves. It's about collaboration. It's working together in unison and working together to make projects and things happen. And then it's also about being receptive. It has a receptivity energy to it that feminine does. And I had a thought that was going to come through about the masculine and feminine. I know what it is. Those of you that have issues on mainly just the left side of your body, or it could be the right side of the body, tend to have issues, whether if all your injuries show up on the left-hand side, it could be issues around the feminine, around women in your life, be it your mom or sisters or friends or something, or if it's on the right side of the body, the right issues could be about the men in your life. So I find it very interesting that people say, yeah, I always heard everything on the left-hand side. And then when I let them know why that is, they're like, oh, that makes so much sense. So you can work with that and shift that so that it doesn't have to continue to be that pattern. Now, the other thing about the pelvis is that it truly is a dumping ground. In our pelvic space, we store all of our unprocessed emotions, maybe physical or mental traumas, abuses, events in our life, that everything gets stored in our pelvic space. And it really gunks things up. When you're storing a lot of garbage in your pelvic space, it really can create a sense of lack of clarity in your work and what you're offering to your clients. And I have found over and over again that as I help women clear out this pelvic space, that just new ideas just flow in so freely for them, and they really can get a clear sense about their work or what their work is supposed to be doing, or what they're supposed to be doing in the world. So clearing out this pelvic space is so important. And so I'd like to share with you, this is one of the most powerful exercises that I walk women through. And every time I do, people really notice a difference. And so I invite you to just kind of check in with your pelvic space. Check in and see what you notice or feel about that area. Do you get drawn to a certain area? Does it one side feel heavier than the other? Does the left side feel different than the right side? Do you get drawn to a certain area or not? So just pay attention and just note that. And then I invite you to imagine yourself as a smaller version of yourself inside your pelvic space, and starting in the front at your pubic bone, so at the lower part of your belly. Starting at that pubic bone, you're going to sweep into the middle all the gunk, all the stored emotions and energies that are willing to be released. And you sweep it into the middle and just allow it to fall out between your legs and fall down into the earth. And as you're walking around, let's start walking around clockwise and just start sweeping away. And just notice if you sense an area feels pretty sticky or pretty heavy or very resistant to wanting to release. Don't force anything. Just allow yourself to spend an extra moment or two in that area, sweeping if it will allow you, and then moving on. Don't force anything. Just let that area know that it's there. And as you're walking around, just keep sweeping, and then as you get to the front again, I'm going to give you a few more minutes to kind of just sweep around and just notice if the left side feels different than the right side. Is there more stuff, more energy, more stuckness in one side versus the other? And just see what's willing to be released. I'm sweeping out all the frustration and disappointment that I encountered today with my first webinar not going off as planned. Then as you draw yourself back to the front again, to that pubic bone, I invite you to just check back in, and what do you notice about your pelvic space? Has anything shifted? Does it feel different? And if it does, I invite you to comment in the chat room what you're noticing about your pelvic space after doing that. Usually women comment that things feel lighter in there. So just see what you notice. All right, so we'll go ahead and move on, but this is a powerful exercise. If you didn't notice much the first time, I invite you to just do, yay, here we go, here's some comments. It actually feels more awake, yes. Left side descended and low back no longer painful. Yay, Renee, I'm so excited to hear that. That's awesome. Yes, lighter and more open. Isn't that powerful? And so I invite you to do this exercise every day. Like I said, I'm sweeping out the crap that I went through today with trying to get my webinar going. And so a sense of spaciousness. Thanks, Kate. Yes. And so do this every day. It's something that, especially if you've had a rough day, really make sure you do it. So before you go to bed at night, as you're laying in bed, you can just go ahead and sweep away all the stuff that happened to you today that no longer needs to be stored in that area. So it's one of my favorite exercises I love telling women about. So let's move on to secret number 2 to being able to increase your prices. And that is you have to be open to receive. And this is such an issue for women. I hate to be generalist, but since I mainly work with women, I have not met one woman who, well, wait, I can't say that, but I have not met many women. I could probably count the women on one hand that have laid down on my table that have been open to receive. Everybody else, and I've worked with hundreds, if not thousands of women that are so blocked to receiving. And what that is what that looks like is a sense of zero energy flowing in the left side of their pelvis. Remember, the left side is that feminine energy and that receptivity. And being open to receiving is allowing that energy to flow in. And so when we're not open to receive, here are the ways that we are limiting our receptivity. We have a lot of beliefs that keep us from actually receiving. And so the first one is we don't deserve to receive anything, or we're not worthy of receiving. And that truly is a belief that many, many women have. And in my Claim Your Value program, we're going to be sharing, I have a very simple, easy way to shift those beliefs so that you can open up that energy flow. When you believe that you're not worthy or you don't deserve to receive anything, that totally blocks your energy. Another way, we believe that it is better to give than receive. That is just common collective consciousness that we have in our society, and we were brought up that way, that it's better to give than receive. And what I'm here to tell you is that it's both. It's better to give and receive, and that it is it's a cycle. We live in a dualistic society where we have on and off and up and down and hot and cold, and we have giving and we have receiving. And so in my work with women, I really help them to see that. I just invite you to ponder this question. Have you ever given a gift to someone and they weren't open to receive it? They kind of shoved it away or shoved it aside, or couldn't receive it. Well, how did that make you feel as the giver of the gift? It doesn't make you feel very good, does it? And so when we don't allow the giver to gift the gift because we don't receive it fully, we're not giving them the gift of giving. And so we really need to be open to allow that circulation to happen, to receive and to give. And so it's the first step is, the awareness of like, oh, it's okay to receive. And the other is working with the energy flow in that pelvic space to really allow that energy to come in. Another belief we have that it's better to take care of others than ourselves. So many women are so over-nurturing, where they are nurturing everybody else but themselves. And what ends up happening is that they just become empty and depleted and possibly even resentful. And that's so not helping or serving anyone when that happens. And then some of us may believe that it's actually selfish if we receive things. And that's so not the case. Another issue that women have around receiving is that they feel like they have to prove themselves. So they feel like I'm not going to receive anything because I know, or I can do it all on my own. So again, when we don't allow people to come in and help, it really doesn't do it doesn't do other people as much good, because people, I know if you think about it, if taking care of others is better than taking care of ourselves, and yet nobody else allows us to take care of them, then who are we to nurture? who are we to take care of? So someone has to be open to allow others to help them out, and everybody feels so much better when it's reciprocal and it's giving and receiving. So the reason or the ways that we limit our receiving is that we've really abandoned our pelvic space. And we've abandoned it from traumas, abuses, accidents. And we leave our pelvic space unattended and we block our receptivity. So when you have been in a trauma or abused of some sort, or you've been in an accident, our energy tends to retract and leave the pelvic space. And this is out of fear. We think that by abandoning the space, we're actually saving ourselves. But the opposite is true. The concept I really want you to grasp is that that there is no protection in your pelvic space when you've abandoned it. And when you've abandoned it, you block everything from coming in. And yet you think that you are. And yet the opposite is true. That when you abandon the space, everything and anything can come in. And so what I want you to understand is that your presence in your pelvis is your protection. And so in my Claim Your Value program, I help women, and in my work that I do, I help women really connect into the power of being present in their pelvic space and realize how protecting that is for them. When you claim this area and you bring your presence down into your pelvic space, you are the guardian in there. You get to decide what comes in and what doesn't. When we abandon it, anything can come in. So recognizing that when you connect into that pelvic space, that you really are helping yourself to protect yourself. So with this ability of lack of receiving, part of the reason we have such a hard time in putting out an increased price point is that we don't have the energy flow of being able to receive this increased price point. And so I've come up with a 3-step cycle that I've worked with. When I have done this cycle, when I've increased my price points, it has been so much easier for me to put that new price out there. When I haven't done this cycle, I kind of throw it out there and go, okay, let's see if this sticks. Let's see how people are going to respond to this. And yet when I've done this cycle and I put it out there, there's a claiming of it. There's a knowingness. There's like, yes, this is right. And so the first step in this receiving cycle is that you have to embrace your new price point. And after you've embraced it and you can hold it energetically within you, you need to be able to send it out into the world. And you have to ask for it. And then the third step is you have to be open to receive it. And so I worked with clients of mine who we did this 3-step cycle with her. And what was interesting is that she was able to embrace her new price point, no problem. That was not an issue. And yet when she went to send it out energetically, there was such a block. It's like she couldn't do it. And as I worked with her and we dove into why it was so blocked, what came up was that she does angel readings. And so she oh shoot, I'm forgetting the word. She channels, thank you, just remembered it. She channels energy through her for people. And she said that she had a friend who was doing that, and she realized that what the friend was channeling was not real or was not good information. And so she felt fraudulent with her work. And what we were able to help her to see was that actually her work was coming from a totally different place. There was so much love that she had for her work and for connecting in with these people that it really was a much different message being delivered than what her friend was bringing to the table. And so in recognizing that, she was then able, it was like the energy just flowed as soon as she was able to shift that energy. So she was able to put it out there in a new way. And then we worked on her energy and receiving it as well. So it is so powerful. And I have a funny story to tell you. One of the ways that I discovered this receiving cycle was I was getting signs all over the place that I needed to increase my prices. And so I was really just kind of sitting with it and trying to figure out, okay, what I had a price point in mind. And I was working with a client who was really getting some amazing results from our work together. And I just happened to ask her, I said, so would you be willing to pay this amount of money for these sessions? And she pondered it, and she said, yes, Lynn, I would. And Lynn, you've got to be open to receive it. And I laughed so hard because here she was giving me my medicine back to me. She was making me, throwing my work right back in my face. But it really made me sit with it and go, well, can I receive this new price point? And I realized there was a little bit of resistance, that the money was, that energy wasn't flowing in very easily. And I'm like, well, can I hold it? And can I put it out there? And oh boy, there was a lot of resistance to putting it out there. And so I was able to work with my energy and shift it so that the cycle was able to flow more freely. And so that's what I love helping women work with, is what is the resistance that you have to putting these new price points out, and what is the resistance you have to receiving it. There's so many different factors that go into it. And in my Claim Your Value program, we really look at all the different factors that may be stopping us, or may be causing this resistance and this flow of energy happening within us. So far in our time together, we've talked about ways or indicators that you need to increase your prices and mistakes made that you want to avoid. We've also talked about how your foundation for your business, which I feel is really your pelvic space, how this foundation can support you, or how you need to clear it. And then we've also talked about the importance of being open to receive more income and how we all tend to limit this. And then we also talked about our 3-step receiving cycle. What we're going to, so some of you might be feeling really excited about this work and like, yes, all right, great, I can't wait to go put this into action. And others of you might be going, but wait, I never really cleared my pelvic space. So let me tell you, before I take you to a special place here, I want to tell you what we're still yet going to cover here. I want to tell you about the #1 way to confidently increase your prices. And we're also going to show you how, your pelvic space really supports your power in your business. We have some very special helpers in our pelvic space that help us in our business. So before we go there, though, or actually I'm going to have this pop up here in just a minute. Hang on. Well, I can't, oh man. Sorry guys, just a minute, my pop-up's not working. Better display. Oh, there it is, all right, great. So I would love to invite you to click on this yellow button here and join me over here on this new page. So some of you might be really excited about what we've talked about so far and are able to just go on and put that out on your own, and others of you might be like, well, wait a minute, how do I do that, and what should I do? And so what I'd like to invite you to is really, this is an offer for you to finally be able to discover and fix the real reason you're limiting your financial success and what you can do about it to stop it for good. So if you've clicked on that yellow button, I'm interested, please, a new page pops up, and I'm just kind of reading some of this from that. So if you are feeling unsure of how to charge more for your work, you might be feeling confused on how to value your work but not overvalue it, and you might be angry or sad that others are making more and that you're not, and maybe you even feel unloved or unsupported and you question the abundance of the universe. And some of you might be feeling that you would be feeling selfish if you increase your prices, or you might be feeling arrogant if you asked for more. And for those of you who have maybe done a lot of work around mindset shifting of your prices and you still can't increase it confidently, then I invite you to take advantage of this. I'd like to offer you a free complimentary Claim Your Value strategy session. This is during our time together, this is where you and I get to sit down one-on-one and talk about what's going on for you in your business. We can identify the energetic blocks in your receiving cycle, and I'll give you my personal energy reading of where you might be stuck. And then I'm going to recommend what you need to do next to identify and embody your divine increased price point to help you find clarity and confidence in the value you offer and help you reclaim your divine feminine power to propel your business to the next level. And we'll also figure out how you need to release your fears around increasing your prices. So the intention of this discovery session is to help you really clarify what's holding you back and identify specific steps to help you find your value, confidence, and divine price point to put out there in the world. And so please only apply if you're 100% committed to growing yourself and your business and you're really serious about doing what it takes, because these sessions are limited. I only have a few few times in my schedule to be able to fit these in. And so they get booked up fast. So if you're interested, all you need to do is go down to this grayish looking box here and just put in your email and your name and apply now. Hit that yellow button. And another page is going to pop up and it's going to have questions for you. And I just invite you to leave that page up and join me back on the Google Hangouts webinar for the number one thing that we're going to the number one way to confidently increase your prices. But if this is something that is interesting to you, or you might even be on the fence, I just invite you to just go ahead and fill this out. If this resonates with you and you really want to know more about how your energy is limiting you or holding you back, I'd love to have an opportunity to sit down and talk with you and see what's going on for you. Please know that there is no pressure or obligation to buy, although you might decide that you want more support to get the results you crave. And I'd love to see how I can serve you if it's a right fit for the two of us to work together. So there are limited spots in these complimentary sessions and they will fill up fast. So I invite you to sign up now. And I am really committed to getting you the results you deserve in your business. I've been working with women in their energy for over 25 years and it is such a passion of mine. I'd love for you to get the results that my clients have been getting. They have greater ease and flow and clarity in their business. They have a greater ability to receive more clients, more money, to be able to charge what they're really worth and make more money. And so I'd so love that for you. So if this resonates with you, if you feel that this is something that would benefit you, or even if you're on the fence, I invite you to just put your name and email in and apply now, and we will set up a session for you. So when you fill out this form, another page is going to pop up that's an application just with some questions on it. Once you fill that out and hit the submit button, then we will contact you within 1 to 3 business days to schedule your session together, okay? So thank you for listening to that. And I'd like for you to go up to your browser and click back to the Google Hangouts page so that we can finish on with the rest of our webinar. So you just need to click back to the browser there to get back to that page. And let's talk about secret number 3. The biggest secret I find is that we need to make increasing our prices an inside job. It's not about a mindset shift. So many people are out there about, oh, just do it. Just increase your prices. And while, yes, that can work, believe me, I've done it, it's just so much more unpredictable and more challenging, I find. And what I've learned is that when I have embodied my new price point and put it out there in this way, it's so much easier. You feel so much more confident with what you're offering people that it truly is so much easier. What I feel is that when you really need to have the energy behind the price point, it just helps support you so much easier to be able to put that out there in a whole new way. Because what really needs to happen is that I feel form follows energy. And so when you embody your work and your price point first, then it's easier to manifest things. So there are some very surprising partners that we have within us to help us out. And luckily, only women have these partners in here because the first one is your uterus. And your uterus, there are 3 special things about your uterus. I think most of you probably don't even think about your uterus other than maybe when you're bleeding on your menstrual cycle, or maybe that you've had a baby. That's really the only times we tend to think about our uterus. And yet I'm here wanting to encourage you to have a whole new relationship with your uterus, because this uterus, this organ within our body, is really truly a spiritual gateway. Think about it. The uterus is what allows a soul to come into being in this world. So it is our closest gateway to the spiritual realm. And it is such a powerful organ. And we are so lucky as women to have this within us, to be able to use this in such a special way. And in my Claim Your Value program, we really dive deeper into how you can do that, because the spiritual, or this uterus, is really our creative center. And this is what we can use to help us to create our programs, our products, our work that we're putting out in the world. And it also has so much transformative energy within it. Now, it doesn't matter if you have birthed children or not. This is still your birthright in just being a woman. You've got this organ inside of you and this power and this potential, and when you tap into it, let me tell you, magic happens. I've seen it over and over and over again. So think about this transformative energy that is within the uterus. It takes 2 cells and it allows a baby to be formed. It is so amazing. And so the uterus, what happens with our uterus is that we have holding energy and releasing energy in our uterus. And so many women either have excessive holding or excessive releasing, and both are a problem. And we need to work on releasing the energy, or finding balance within the uterus so that it can hold when it needs to and release when it needs to. So in my Claim Your Value program, we talk about how to work with this uterine energy in a more productive way that supports us. And then our other is our ovaries. Our ovaries are very, very powerful. They actually represent how we're showing up in the world. I actually have a little picture here of them. So our ovaries are very powerful. They're a powerful way to harness your confidence, because they show you how you're showing up in the world. Now, our ovaries can either be overextended, they can be shriveled up, they can be absent. And the ovaries are very dynamic because they're constantly changing depending on how you are showing up in the world. When I was doing my first webinar, I tapped into them and I'm like, oh my gosh, my right one was so overproducing because I was doing so much to make it happen. And so I was able to work with them to bring them back into balance again. And one thing that I find is women do not have that connection between the left and the right ovary flowing so that they can support each other. So many right ovaries are just off on their own, and the left ovary is really about supporting the right ovary. And so when you can harness this energy and be able to check in and see how they are in any moment in your life, you can work with shifting that energy, and we work with that in the Claim Your Value program. So here's the opportunity before you. I just invite you all to start tuning in and pay more attention to your pelvic space. See if you can build a solid, larger foundation, and see if you can start opening up to your receptivity. And I also invite you to sign up for a complimentary Claim Your Value discovery session and get a free energy reading of how things are showing up for you. And I would love to support you in being able to put your price point out there in a more confident, successful way. So if that resonates with you, I just invite you to, I'm going to put the yellow button up here again. There it is. So if you are interested, just click on that yellow button. Know that there are limited seats or limited spots available for that. And I would love to set up a time that we can get together and talk and see what's going on for you and your energy. So Thank you so much. I'm going to check back in. If you have any questions, feel free to put them into the chat box. If you would like to, you can always check me out at my Rebirth Your Radiance Facebook page. Rebirth Your Radiance on Facebook is my page. If you have any questions you want me to answer, please, you can go there and like my page and answer questions. I'll be happy to respond to you there. So thank you all very much for joining me, and I look forward to talking to you on a discovery session. Please let your girlfriends know about this webinar. It's going to be offered a couple more times now. I added another session next Thursday at 10 a.m. for those that weren't able to make it on this morning. And then we're also gathering again Saturday at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So if you know of anybody who might be interested in hearing about this work, please let them know about it. I would so appreciate it. All right, everybody, thanks so much for joining me. Take care and good luck. Bye-bye.